I'm here to tell you a story today. So we're going to do our makeup and a story. So let's do this. I'm going to use my Iman of Normal Primer. It's a water-based primer. That's how it looks. Can you see it? And I'm going to use it on my face. I think I got a better filter this time. So yeah, I think we recorded yes. I'm going to take a little bit of this and then I'm just gonna rub all over my face and eyes and neck. Really to work it into the skin. Today I wanted hydration instead of pore filling, so that's what I did use. Um, so you work it around the eyes. Okay, let me put this back into my selection. Um, I'm going to use my Mini Queen foundation and my Comfy Beauty Natural Skin Foundation. So I'm gonna mix them together. So I'm gonna put it on my face like this. Right? And then I keep forgetting to do my under eyes. So what we are going to do for the eye, I can find it somewhere. Put this foundation back in there. Take this foundation. So today's story is called A Mother's Instinct. It's a movie I just watched. Very interesting. I made a script for it. So you see me looking off camera and looking at the script. Okay, put this back in there. Um, so the movie is set in the 1950s suburban area. So you can imagine, obviously, it's gonna be only whites in this movie because it's set in an era where racism was very ripe. Not that racism plays any um, part in this story. So anyway, there's two mothers, both of your typical white suburban mothers. Both have sons. Um, both have really high-ranking husbands working in pharmaceuticals and government. I think the ones working in government, and they spend a lot of time together. They've We have Alice and Celine. Celine has one son named Max, and Alice's son's name is Theodore. It's a typical suburban area. Normally, just one school, one primary school, one high school. You know, that typical American dream stuff. And like I said, they spend a lot of time together, and because they like technically stay-at-home moms, they have a lot of free time in their hands to like exercise and garden, to like indulge in their hobbies and stuff, and indulge in their children. So, having said that, there's a birthday party, right? It's Max's eighth birthday party, and he invites everybody over, including Alice's mother-in-law and Alice and her family. And then, no, no, not Max's birthday party, his mother's birthday party. It's a surprise birthday party. So everybody's invited, and they like hide in the garden and whatever, and there's like these cakes and children are playing around, and it's a typical summer's day, and so the music takes place in the summer. A couple of days later, Max gets sick, so Celine tells Alice by the car because she comes running out of the house to tell Alice that no, Max is sick. She's gonna keep him at home so she can take Theodore to school. They can play afterwards. So during the day while Theodore's at school, Alice decides to go out and garden. Decides to vacuum living room. Now this is the time that our sick little Max, cute little boy, decides now he's gonna hang up his bird tree. So Max and Theodore were making bird trees for art and craft, and it looks similar. So Max decides he's not going to wait for the weekend. He's going to hang it up now. This is while Alice is still in the garden. This is my new concealer, as you can see. And then he gets on the balcony and he stands up. Alice sees this and panics, and she starts screaming. She tries to get through the hedge but cannot make it through. So she decides to run around to the front and burst into Celine's house and run up the stairs. Startled, Celine runs after her to see what's happening. But it's too late. By the time they both get up there, Max has fallen to his death. Yeah, it's a pretty it's not gruesome. When they show the scene, it's just Celine holding him with her blood running down her fingers, right? This forever alters their friendship, right? Because Celine can't have any more children. Max was her last hope or her last chance. So um they go and like give their condolences, but the father isn't very welcoming. He's very upset. And I think he blames in the scene. It looks like he's like judging them, like it's their fault his son died. So anyway, they go away and leave like Celine and her husband alone to like grieve and whatever. But this like disturbs Alice because she can feel there's a shift in the relationship, right? So anyway, one day Tia comes home from school and they tell him that Max is gone, but he doesn't like really process it. He just sits there numbly, like he doesn't understand what's happening. So the husband, Simon, Alice's husband, says, I think he's in shock. So they both agree that he's in shock and she gives him time to process this. Anyway, Alice is in the house and she's like doing what a typical housewife would do, and then she realizes that Theodore isn't there. So I want to just say something about Theodore. He's allergic to peanuts, and this has caused a lot of anxiety in Alice, right? Because one bite can actually kill him, right? So anyway, she can't find him, and she's like looking. She finds him in the garden next door with Celine, and they're talking, they're holding hands, and she always asking Celine questions about like where's Max, what's going to happen to Max, and like what is death and all of that. So Alice calls back Theodore, tells him to get dressed because it's dirty, because it's sitting on the ground, and tries to reach out to Celine, but she ignores her. So she's feeling like, despondent and all of that. Like, why is her friend not like engaging with her or whatever these friends do? And so she like tells her husband she doesn't feel like um she and Selena getting along. So I would say that she just she was played off. She's like being like dramatic or whatever. She wasn't like take it too hard or whatever. So she's like, okay, but it doesn't feel right because like she feels like they blame her for Max's death. So I was like, don't be stupid. Why would they blame her? Like she's being paranoid. She said, okay, whatever. Anyway, the couple decide to go to uh, on holiday, like to get away from all of this debacle and tragedy and sadness, leaving Alice again despondent because she hasn't spoken to her friend since the funeral, where Theodore threw a fit because he left his bunny at her house. And instead of giving it back, she put it in Max's casket. So anyway, this really infuriates Theodore, and it's like infuriates Alice that Theodore would respond this way. Why would like Alice, Celine, Hello Kitty Cat, Celine put the doll, knowing that it's Theodore's, in Max's casket. Anyway, she lets it slide. She's a little bit angry. Then they start talking again when they come back because Celine comes to visit the school. She's feeling lonely and she's back from her holiday and she's like, the house is empty and you are disturbing my thing. The house is empty. So she wants to like be with children, right? Which is understandable. And then she sees Theodore and collapses. Like she physically gets sick and collapses, right? So this Alice takes this as an opportunity to reconnect with Celine. It's a friend and all of that. So she wants to reconnect. He takes her outside, tells her it's not a great idea for her to be here and whatever, whatever. It's best she goes home. So Celine agrees and goes home. But there's like a semi-reconciliation, right? They're not exactly okay, but they're okay for now. This makes Alice happy. Like she can go see Celine and see if Celine is okay and all of that, right? So they have tea and they talk, and then Theodore's birthday comes up, and before Theodore's birthday, Celine invites him over to her house. It's a surprise she wants to give him. But by now, Alice's suspicion of Celine has increased, but she allows Theodore to go because she doesn't want to seem like the bad friend, right? So she lets him go. It's against her better judgment to let him go. So anyway, he goes, and then she sees him standing alone by the balcony, which causes her to panic again because it reminds her of Max. So she runs, and she manages to get through the hedge. And this is a turning point in the story because remember in the early on for Max she couldn't get through the hedge. So this is like the turning point in this relationship because now both she and Celine realize that wait a minute, she could have made it through the hedge, or she could have essentially saved Max. So this like Alice thinks she's being tested, which I and from Celine's look on her face, she's like, "Huh, you could have made it." So this casts suspicion on both characters. So Celine thinks that Alice probably let Max die on purpose, and Alice thinks that Celine is testing her. So Alice voices this opinion to her husband. Like, I think that Celine is trying to test me. So obviously, it's the 1950s. No one really listens to women. Go figure. So he's like, just leave it. You're being dramatic as hell. She's like, I'm not being dramatic. He's like, I think she tested me. And so he's like, no, just leave it, leave it. Now, because of this suspicion, she doesn't want Alice near her, I mean Celine near her or her family. Pinky Pongs, jump, yeah. So she's like, oh, I don't really like this dynamic anymore. I'm very suspicious. Now I want to tell you about something about Alice. Like besides the peanut allergy with Theodore, she thinks it's her fault that her parents died, and this gave her also anxiety, right? So it's made to look like Alice is crazy, which is what the producers wanted, and so you're gonna think she's crazy, but you don't know who to believe. You don't know who to like cast suspicion on yourself. So you like one minute you like cast suspicion on Celine because maybe she did test Alice, and the next minute you're like, yeah, maybe Alice is just really in too much to this thing, which the husband is saying. So anyway, Theodore decides that he wants to fight Celine for his birthday because according to him, he's her friend, and they need to like they're bonding over Max's death. At the party, Alice's mother-in-law like tells Celine that I know she's grieving, but it's not appropriate for her to be at the birthday party because like she doesn't think it's going to help her. So this angers Celine. She storms off into the kitchen with like dirty plates and stuff, and just like start. She like asks, and it's like, is there something wrong? Like me feeling like there's something like off between us. So um, Alice like straight up asks because Alice is a straightforward person. She's like, did you test me with Theodore in the balcony? So she's like, how can you even think that? I just lost my son. Why would I do that to you and your friends and whatever? And she proceeds to leave. And then Alice comforts her and says, no, I'm sorry. I just, it seemed that way. And I'm sorry I cast suspicion onto you. Later that day, uh, Grandma Jean, which is Alice's mother-in-law, passes away. So they call the ambulance and everything. But again, Alice is suspicious of Celine. So she orders an autopsy without her husband's knowledge. The autopsy comes back saying there's no heart medication in the system of the mother-in-law. So she's like, okay, that's strange because we see her take her medication every day, and now uh, how come there's no heart medication in there? So he decides to break into Celine's house because Celine's husband runs a pharmaceutical or something, right? And she thinks Celine has dropped the tablets. But this doesn't end up where she thinks it is. I think I skipped ahead. Let's backtrack a little bit, okay? Before we get to this point of the tablets. They invite uh, Alice and her husband over for cocktails because Grandma Jean died, and there wasn't the food wasn't ready yet, so she brought snacks out. So she told Theodore, Celine, that he can't have the chocolate ones because of the uh, there's peanuts in it, but he can take anything from the drainer board and eat that. But apparently she forgot that there was peanut biscuits on the drainer board. So Theodore takes the drainer board, the biscuits on the drainer board, eating, gets into an anaphylactic shock. This scares Alice, and this like furthers her suspicion of Celine. So they rush him to the hospital, and they're like, it's been 20 minutes since he's been like anaphylactic shock, like he's been hyperventilating things, he can't breathe and all of that. Can they help you? They know he's a peanut allergy. So they rush him to the uh, emergency room, right? At this point, Celine comes in with her husband, and Alice attacks her, right? This causes the scuffle, and then Simon, which is Alice's husband, drags her away into this separate untrained hospital room and like confronts her, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you being so weird? And she's like, no, I think that she tried to kill our son because like there's a test, and then Grandma Jean died, and then she explains to him that she found the bottle of medication in the garden, put it in her drawer, and then suspected Celine of stealing it because Celine has keys. They have keys to each other's house, so he gets angry and drags her to the car because he's lost his mother, his son's about to die. What the hell is this going on? And like, she shows the bottle like I found in the garden, and she's like, no, I found in the garden. But he leaves it in the car and he goes for a break, right? So naturally she's a bit skeptical, sitting with the she's sitting there with the bottle. She's like, but I took this in. I took this bottle in. How come? Well, how come? So she doesn't really do any more questioning. She just takes the bottle. And like I said, she obviously confronted Celine when Celine denied it. So she left it at that. Anyway, she takes Theodore home. By this point, she doesn't really trust um, Celine anymore because, like, what the fuck, What the fuck is happening in this house, in this place? So anyway, she's like, okay, fine, whatever, I'm gonna leave it, but I'm not gonna really trust Celine anymore. Celine needs a package for Theodore, like a present, and he sees it and he wants it, and Alice throws the package back at Celine's door. And then, like 10 minutes later, after she's like doing her housely duties, I'm not really sure what housewives did in the 50s, but she can't find her son. So she goes looking for him, and she suspects that he's by Celine's house. So she goes there, and she bursts in, and Celine's angry, like, "What you want, Jay? You know, like, what you want?" And it's like, "I know he's here, I know he's here." And she's like, "He's not here." She's like, "I know he's here." And then they both hear like scuffle, like a scuffling, with a noise upstairs, and they both ran upstairs, and they find Theodore standing on the balcony that Max was standing on before he fell. And he's like, he can't take it anymore. He wants to go to Grandma Jean and Max because they're not fighting, and everything is fine, and all of that, right? So Celine takes over. She's like, "No, my child, it's since Max's death and Grandpa Jean's death, and everything has been like topsy turvy, and they don't fight anymore, and she's sorry for both of them, and can he just not do anything stupid?" So they both grab him, and they both like hug and reconcile. So you think, okay, but as you're watching the movie, you're like wondering, like, what's the purpose? What's the point of this movie? What is the point of all these scenes? Like, you're confused about whether or not Alice is crazy. You're confused about whether or not Celine is a crazy person. What is the end goal here? Like, what are you supposed to, like, what is the point? So anyway, they reconcile. Um, Simon says no. They tell Alice they're going to move her for Theodore's sake because they can see this is taking a really big toll on him. So she kisses him and they make love and they're gonna have. She decides they're having another baby. I'm skipping over the misogynistic stuff because it only happened once, so we're going to talk about that. Uh, yeah. So anyway, they go on their merry way. So anyway, after this conversation with the husband, they're not meeting. There is a tea party with Celine. And now that they've reconciled, they decided no, that she's gonna tell Celine that they're moving. Celine agrees, cheery eyed, and she's like, "Okay, here's the best thing for Theodore. Take him away. You can't take it anymore, whatever." And then they part ways. Celine goes home. Alice goes home. Celine is like doing household duties. She pours a glass of alcohol, and as she pours it, her husband comes back from work. So she gives him the alcohol, and like the husband's roles are not really amplified in this story except for when Simon is interacting with Alice about her suspicions. So anyway, he's like, "Yeah, I want you to stay away from that family, and I don't want that boy in my house, and I'm tired of you, and I'm so happy they're moving, and I don't just stop it, just stop it, just stop it. You irritate me, like, can't believe you forgot my son and all that." So she's like, "Okay." She's done. She's like burnt out at this point. So she gives him more alcohol and he goes sleep. Then she goes downstairs and she takes chloroform, like literal chloroform, because he's drunk, he's already like half dead, and she knocks him out. Right? Then she takes the um the razor blade and she makes it look like he committed suicide. Same day that Alice told her that they're moving. So Alice and her husband, like the next day, they find out that no, that this police is telling he's dead. So they invite Celine to come stay over. Right. At this point, and then let me backtrack again. Celine killed her husband, right? Now, do you know who to believe? You believe Alice. Alice is not crazy, right? But she goes there with nothing. So she starts sleeping in the guest back room. And out of the goodness of her heart, Alice decides to go to her house to fetch some clothes. But this part really like confused me. I don't understand this part. I had to watch the scene a couple of times and I still don't understand it. She goes and she fetches clothes from the house for Celine. And then she sees the key to the um dispensary. There's a medical dispensary down in the basement that she saw before. She's like, okay, just gonna go check, She's just gonna go check. And she sees the bottles of chloroform. But I don't understand what this means, right? Because I don't know how she got her family's life is in danger because of the chloroform, but she gets that. So anyway, she runs to her house, right? So this time her husband is drunk, passed out on the couch, watching God knows what men watch on these TVs. And she runs upstairs with a mental piece, right? Because she wants to confront Celine now about the chloroform in the dispensary. Before she gets there, Celine accosts her on the top of the staircase with the chloroform. By this time, she has knocked Theodore out because she convinced him it's a magic potion and to help him sleep. Right, so she knocks him out. So she knocks Alice out eventually. Um, the scene is that they both knock each other out. Celine comes too faster and she catches Alice like hugging her son and trying to like hold on to her son. But the chloroform is taking effect. So she puts more chloroform to knock her out. Then Celine, after she knocks her out, drags her ass downstairs and puts her in her husband's arms. And then goes out cleaning the house and disengaging the gas, right? The gas nozzle. She unlocks it and let the gas pass through. Then she picks up all the pearls that she lost from the fight, bundles them up, and then she goes and strokes Theodore. Then it cuts, no? This is the end part, right? Now we all know that Celine's a mad person. And she's sitting there with the solicitor and Theodore. And they have come to the conclusion that Alice and Simon's death were an accident, a tragic accident, and that since Theodore doesn't have any living family relatives, does he want to um, live with Celine? So he says yes, and it cuts to them on the beach. And Celine is telling him, yeah, she understands there's a void, and that together they can fill each other's void and whatever, and it should be together. And his moods lighten up, and they start to play in the beach. So that's where the movie ends, right? It's a good movie. I think it was very slow paced, but it was very engaging. It kept you guessing. I like the suburban feel, and I like that it's not a typical thriller. So if I were you, I would really go and watch it. You can get it for free on certain platforms, but it's a very good movie. It's very engaging and enthralling and thrilling. And I didn't think I was going to like it because I didn't actually read the synopsis of the story. I just picked it out randomly to help me do my makeup today. So um, I'm going to take this red color and put it here and take it also here and put it there, right? And just in circles, really work it into the skin. See? So it's a good movie. It's called A Mother's Instinct. Stars Anne Hathaway. She plays Celine. Spoiler alert. And yeah, she gets away with murder. Basically, is what's happening there. She gets away with murder, and I don't know if I should be upset about it or happy about it. But she gets away with murder. So yeah, good movie, good movie. I like the fact that it was set in the 1950s. Um, it's I think they did this properly. just reblending everything. Yeah, that's the story. It's a nice, good story. It's engaging, keeps you guessing. You are always wondering who's right, who's wrong. The way they played off the confusion between the two, like who's right, who's wrong, was really good. As I add glitter, let me add a highlight. So yeah, I will do these stories again. I like them. I was scared at first to do it because I didn't know if I was going to get it right, but I got it right. I got the gist of the stories. Just in the last finished touches. Like I said before, I don't wear eyelashes because why don't I wear eyelashes? Because I get in my eyes, I get like infections and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so they say you mustn't have dead air in your videos, but sometimes a little quiet is not. So this is a final look. I'm just gonna come closer. I hope you like it. I like it a lot. Um, I think it gives my face a different shape. So, a cute little shadow there. So, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment so that I can get to 2 million of